Assalamu alaikum with a new episode of the Rising Stars. This is Agha Sattar. Today we shall talk about the rising cases of Islamophobia and conservative Muslims who are believed to be one of the reasons as to why this is rising. Of course, there is also the distortion of the far right in several parts of the Western world, including the UK, where Tommy Robinson, who is considered a far-right activist, has recently taken out a big rally slamming Muslims and vomiting hatred against Muslim. Critics believe that far right is one of the reasons for these rising cases of Islamophobia. Of course, there are also there are also economic factors, but one of the factors is also the conservative interpretation of religion or conservative Muslim scholars who have been spreading hatred against secularism, against Western democracy, and who are trying to follow the politics of divisiveness. There are many conservative Muslim YouTubers who are going around the world, talking to Muslim, engaging them, and in a way misguiding them as well, trying to offer a conservative interpretation of Islam. In the UK, Muhammad Hijab, Dili Hussain, Adnan Rashid. In the United States, Qadi Yasir. In Pakistan, Sahil Adeem and some other preachers and YouTubers are also doing that thing. Sahil Adeem's case is unique because he's not only trying to emotionalize Pakistani youth, but he is also doing the same with the Muslim youth living in Australia, the UK, the United States, and all over the world. He has been doing that online, and it's very important to understand the man first. So one needs to understand that this is not what I'm saying, that Sahil Adeem, according to Google search, claims to have graduated from the University of Chicago and the Metropolitan University of Toronto. But in reality, according to Google search, people are skeptical towards his claim. He has never presented any evidence that he has really graduated from those prestigious universities. And the type of thing and the lies and distortion, historical distortions, especially that he resorts to, clearly indicate that he may not have had those degrees. Then he claims to be a behavioral psychologist, against his degree skeptical. So this is one thing. Let's try to talk about some of his historical lies and distortions so that we would understand what is the man is talking about. Uh, for instance, he said that God helped Ashraf Ali Thanvi write 1400 books with each having 3 to 4 volume and 300 or 400 pages. If you calculate, that would be around 1 million pages. And then he said that some nations were allowed 400 wives. Again, there is no evidence. There are certain Christian or Jewish writer who may talk about certain uh, prophets from Judaism or Christianity who may have been given this permission, but this is not for any nation. Then he talks about the Council of Nicaea, and any student of Christianity would know that Council of Nicaea was convened in 325, but he said that it was convened in 285 AD, and that secularism was discussed there. And Muhammad, peace be upon him, came to this world 400 years after this. So if you calculate it, it means that Muhammad, peace be upon him, would have been born in 685. Now people could ask that this guy claims to be the champion of Islamic studies and he does not know the exact date of his own prophet. And the actual Council of Nicaea took place in 325. And from that calculation, if we go by the calculation of Sahil Adeem, then Muhammad, peace be upon him, would have been born in 725. So this is one thing. This is the level of knowledge that this guy has. And then he says that the Council of Nicaea basically discussed secularism. Although from like if we study Western history, we would say that it might have started with the Magna Carta, and after the Treaty of Westphalia in 17th century, many people believe that, or many experts believe that this is where the process of secularism started or got a bit momentum. And then, of course, scientific invention, rationality, Renaissance, these all contributed. The effects of Renaissance, because Renaissance started much before the 16th century, 17th century. Then the famous sentence of Christ, uh, it was also misquoted by him, which says that give uh, render to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. So he attributed it to an emperor, which is an outright lie, does not have any justification. Then he said that Afghan Taliban demanded twice uh, the handing over of Afia Siddiqui during the Doha Agreement or in the Doha Agreement. You can go through the four parts that are available on internet. Then he said that 85% of the world's inhabitants during the time of Hazrat Umar were living under his rule. That is absolutely wrong. Australian must know that Australia had not been discovered, New Zealand had not been discovered, South Central and North America had not been discovered during the time of Hazrat Umar. The same could be said about China and India, the two giant countries uh, that had not been, witnessed any Muslim rule there. Of course, there were some Muslim who visited China and Kerala area, especially the Malabar area, because the Arab used to do trade with the people of Malabar, and when they converted to Islam, they uh, married some local women, and out of that there is a certain group of people that was born out, it's known as Mopla. So that is there. So but this man does not feel any hesitation in resorting to lies and distortion, because he knows that of course in Pakistan nobody is going to ask, but Western Muslim need to keep this in mind. And everything that I'm saying is available on internet, you can also find it. And then he said that Hazrat Umar visited Egypt when Umar al-As was the governor of Egypt, that Arab country, asking him as to what he did with the money that he might have accrued or accumulated. He said that that was invested in agriculture, and he showed him fields. And Hazrat Umar got angry, asking his slave to burn the fields. Now there are important questions. The first is that Hazrat Umar has had never ventured out of Arabian Peninsula except one at the time of the conquest of Jerusalem and or Jerusalem, because the ruler of that particular area had said that he would only hand over the key of the city's fort to the caliph. So that's why, and many historians have recorded it that Hazrat Umar was leading the camel with his slave sitting on the camel, and Sepharnius, who was the Christian leader, he asked him that where is your caliph? Then Hazrat Umar replied, I am the caliph. And he was very surprised. He said that who is the guy sitting on the camel? Hazrat Umar replied, he is my slave. And then Hazrat Umar also assured him that Muslims are not going to demolish any worshipping place. They are not going to harm anyone. They are not going to carry out any plundering at all. Only the Roman officials or the Roman soldiers should leave the city, and if they are unarmed, they are not going to be attacked. So it is a famous historical incident. So now you could see that he comes up with concocted stories. Hazrat Umar did not venture out except one, but he not only had Hazrat Umar visited Egypt, but he concocted an entire story that he ordered that crops should be burned. Now you see that Hazrat Umar naturally was aware of the instruction of the Holy Quran. Even during the war, there are clear instructions of Quran that do not harm crops or standing crops. And how could Hazrat Umar possibly have ordered the burning of this? But he concocted the entire story. Then he said that Mayan civilization disappeared within 24 hours against an outright lie. There is no evidence. There was a series of people, conquistador, reaching South and Central America, Francis Pizarro, Cortez, and other people. It took a long time. Even today, there are descendants of Mayan civilization who are still there in parts of South and Central America. So this was the brief introduction of his lies, and then of course this guy posed a lot, as you might have seen in this particular lecture. where he talked about Muslim identity and Western culture, stuff like that, that he boasts and brags a lot that I know the human design, I know this, and I know that. Then he claims to be a psychologist, but the very term of psychology, like inferior psychology and superior psychology, that he resorts or that he uses again and again, you won't find it in any psychology book. What exactly Adler used was inferiority complex and superiority complex. So this is the guy who distort the basic terminologies of psychology and claims to be psychologist. Against there is no evidence. And then he has very bizarre statement. And of course, if Muslim living in the Western country, if they start following him, or if they start listening to him or paying heed to his bizarre statement, that's going to be catastrophic for the Muslim living in Western countries. For instance, he believes that girls as old as 4 can be married off. Now the question is that if the girl can contract nikah at the age of 4, how can she possibly have any consent at all? And if Muslim living in Western countries starting a silly statement of Sahil Adeem, it's going to put them in trouble, because in the Western countries, underage marriage is strictly forbidden and strict legal action is taken against those who resort to it. Then he declared 95% Pakistani women as illiterate, and he was quite unabashed. He did not tender any apology on that. He says that women's face is fitna. So he has said contradictory things. In one of his statements, he said, yes, women should be covered from head to toe. And in some others, he had talked differently. In still another, he said that women's face is fitna. It means that when men look at women's face, so this is how they have sexual, interaction or sexual desire. This is a line that was taken by Maulana Maududi in his famous book Parda, and Sahil Adeem more or less repeats the same thing. Then he romanticizes Afghan Taliban. Recently, he sort of lambasted Hassan Ilyas, who is a disciple of Javed Ahmad Ghamdi, for condemning and slamming the Afghan Taliban. So he believes that Afghan Taliban have imposed Sharia, and he really, if you look at his videos, you can find him heaping eulogies on Afghan Taliban. Recently, in one of his interviews, he has described mothers as snack. So you can find so many misogynistic statements of Sahil Adeem if you watch his if you watch his different videos. Now the question is that he has been accused by his critics of someone who subscribes to extremist ideas. He's the guys who wants global domination of religion, global caliphate, stuff like that. If Western Muslim, remember, these are the things that were also talked about by people, Osama bin Laden, terrorist, Abu Bakr Baghdadi, terrorist Osama, and then terrorist Ahmad Jolani, and the Afghan Taliban. And Muslim really suffered a lot because of that. You see now Syria has been destroyed, Libya has been devastated. We see sectarian massacres in Iraq because of this ideology. Afghanistan is in total ruin because of all that. Interestingly, those who raised the slogans of global caliphate or controlling the world or capturing the world or occupying the world, they could not do anything anywhere. Instead of conquering any territory or instead of establishing a global caliphate, they ended up destroying Muslim countries. Even in Pakistan, you see more than 32,000 people got killed because of the Taliban insurgency or the Taliban terrorism. So this guy has been accused of subscribing to the ideas of people who in the past have been accused of harboring extremist ideology or subscribing to extremist ideology, like Maulana Maududi or Dr. Israr Ahmed. Then this guy strongly opposes secularism, like Maulana Maududi, Dr. Israr, and other fundamentalists. Now, Western Muslims should imagine if there is a Christian government in Western countries, then what will happen? Let us recall what happened in the past. In 1492, Isabella and Ferdinand, more or less, they established a Christian government, a Roman Catholic government. They kicked out all the Muslims from Al-Andalusia or southern Spain who had been living there for more than 700 years. They also kicked out all Jews from there who had been even living more than 700 years or 900 years. So what emerges in the name of religion is not a religious state. For instance, Iran is a religious state, but you cannot name any non-Shiite in their guardian council. Saudi Arabia is a religious state, but you cannot name any Deobandi, Barelvi, or Shiite in their shura or highest decision-making body. In the same way, if you look at the Afghanistan of 1990s, you would notice that was essentially a Deobandi state, and there was no Shiite, no Deobandi, no Barelvi in their shura. And in reality, they massacred Shiite in Bamiyan and other parts of Afghanistan when they ascended to power during the 1990s. So now the question is that if Muslim talked about, or people like Sahil Adeem say that there should be religious government, global caliphate, then logically we should also say that there should be religious government in India and in Europe. And I have already told you that if there is a Christian government in Europe, there is a strong possibility that more than 40 million Muslims or over 40 million Muslim living in Europe and other parts of Western world, they might be kicked out if there is really a Christian government. And similarly, if there is a Hindu government in India, they might treat more than 200 million Muslim or 190 million Muslim like Shudar or Malich, and they might have to leave. In the past, what happened that Muslim mullah, especially in India, said that India had become Darul Kufr or the place of infidelity. That's why they should migrate from that particular place. And it's interestingly, all those mullah who issued that fatwa, none of them migrated. It was the innocent Muslim people who migrated to Afghanistan and they were kicked out by Afghans there. They simply deported them or badly treated them. So this is what we need to understand, that we, the Muslims, especially those who are living in the Western countries, today they are safe if they can follow their religion, if they practice their religion. It is because of secularism. Now, people like Sahil Adeem distort the definition of secularism. They more or less seem to be equating secularism to atheism. This is what Maulana Maududi and Dr. Israr have also said. And Sahil Adeem is their follower. And they were really very extremist mullahs. They were really very extremist clerics. For instance, Maulana Maududi has written in Al-Jihad fil Islam, one of his books, that when the religion or when his religion, dominates over the world, then non-Muslim would be asked to convert to Islam. If they don't convert to Islam, then they would be asked to pay jizya. And if they don't pay jizya, then massacre or killing will be carried out. And such ideas were endorsed by Dr. Israr Ahmed in one of his TV interviews on Geo TV, which is the largest television network in Pakistan. He said that when the anchors pointed out Maulana Maududi's statement, he endorsed it. He said that this is what will happen, that first they would be asked to convert to Islam or pay jizya or get killed. And this is the same propaganda that is being carried out by the far right all over the world. In the UK, it's Tommy Robinson who has been campaigning for a ban on Islam, because this is how Maulana Maududi, Dr. Israr, and other people, interpreted the verses of Islam. Although there are other scholars who totally disagree with this interpretation, and they said that jizya was a pre-Islamic tradition, and any nation that conquered another nation would impose that jizya. So in Sahil Adeem, if you watch his videos, he heaps eulogies on Maulana Maududi. He says, I love Maulana Maududi. He heaps eulogy on Maulana Dr. Israr Ahmed and other extremist scholars. So this is important that Muslims living in Western countries, they need to understand this guy, because in the past we suffered a lot because of the rhetoric of these people, and instead of doing anything good to Muslim countries, they just destroyed Muslim countries. They just sectarianized it. Especially Pakistanis living in Western countries should remember that we killed in the name of Shiite and Sunni, especially during the decades of 90s. On the one side, we lost Shia doctors. On the other side, maybe Sunni engineers. On the one side, majalis were targeted. On the other side, Taraweeh people offering their Taraweeh were killed. So we have to be aware of this guy who has been accused of subscribing to extremist ideas. They could be very catastrophic. And we have to, of course, there is injustice in Palestine, but millions of people are taking to streets. They're not Muslim. Similarly, during the Iraq war, more than 1 million people took to the street in London. And most of them were non-Muslim. 99% of them were non-Muslim. People took to the streets in Berlin, in Rome, in Paris, in New York, in Washington. They were non-Muslim. So Muslim living in the Western countries, they should ally with like-minded political parties, and they should condemn both terrorists uh, and and the far right activists, both sides. They should reject fundamentalists, and they should also reject Islamophobe, because they are both doing the politics of divisiveness. And if you look at Sahil Adeem, he hobnobs with, like in UK, he hobnobs with people like Muhammad Hijab and other people who believe in the politics of divisiveness. And Muhammad Hijab, in one of his speeches, he has clearly said that his religious interpretation, according to his religious interpretation, Islam has come to conquer the world. So this is what he says. So imagine that if you are living in Australia and saying that you have come here to conquer Australia, and you will relegate Christians and other people to the status of second class citizen, taking jizya from them, and if they don't take jizya, then you would resort to killing. What would be their natural reaction? Imagine if the same thing is said by around let's say 5 million Hindus living in Pakistan, that they want to impose Ram Raj in Pakistan. So what would be the reaction of Pakistanis? So it's very important to be aware of that. This is part one. I will also do part two on this particular issue.